I believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear them. So come with me as we take a walk down Fascination Street.
Welcome back, Streetwalkers. This episode is the 4th appearance of the great Vinnie Tortorich. If you didn't catch any of those shows, definitely go back and check them out. That first one was a 2-parter, and that's Vinnie's life story, basically. In this episode, we talk about his recent move from Los Angeles to Virginia and why that happened. We also talk a little bit about his podcast, Fitness Confidential, a little bit about his company, Pure Vitamin Club. We talk about his other company, Pure Coffee Club. And then we talk about his newest product called Ultra Fat Nut Butter. Plus, we talk a little bit about the documentary, Fat, a documentary, that Vinnie made a couple of years ago, and the new documentary that's coming out January 1st. This was recorded during all the self-distancing due to the coronavirus outbreak. So if that is over by now, woohoo! If not, damn it. But either way, this is the 4th appearance of the great Vinnie Tortorich.
Yeah, talk to me, yeah.
Welcome to Fascination Street Podcast, Vinnie Tortorich. How you doing today, Vinnie?
I cannot complain, Steve. How are you?
I am fantastic. Hey, here's a little piece of trivia for you. How many times do you think you have been on my show before, including this one?
I'm going to say this is number 3.
This is actually number 4. Can you believe that?
No, I know the first time we did it, we recorded at a Starbucks.
Uh-huh.
Get that right?
Yeah, that's true.
And then, you know what? I'm probably missing one because I was probably promoting the movie or something and came back on.
Yeah, so you came on to promote the Indiegogo, and then you came on when the movie was out and ready.
That was it, yeah.
And so now this is your 4th appearance on Fascination Street Podcast. Guess how many other people have been on here 4 times?
Well, since you're bringing it up, I'm going to say no one.
Nobody has even been on more than twice.
So I have the record. Finally, I have a record in life.
Yeah, finally. So I think there's only 5 people that have been on twice, and then here's your 4th time.
Cool. By the way, before we get started, I want to thank you. Serena showed me this really cool card you sent her, and these little buttons that apparently you put on the back of your cell phone. Is that the way it works?
Yeah, and it pops out, so it's a handle or a kickstand or whatever the hell you want. But yeah, I love you fools, both of you. I just sent that stuff. I figured maybe you could use them.
Yeah, come on, you're good people over there, and I've always had a great time being on your shows.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Now, Vinnie, the last time you were on, or I guess every time previously that you were on, you lived in or just outside of Los Angeles, like maybe in Calabasas or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, you are not in California. Can you tell me why you left?
Yeah, there's always speculation. I shoot competitive skeet and trap. So by definition, that makes me, and I'm doing air quotes here, a gun guy. I guess I am a gun guy. I probably pull a trigger between 700 and 1,200 times a week. So I guess that qualifies me as a gun guy, but it's for competition. So people go, oh, yeah, all the tough gun laws. That's why he left. And then other people were, well, it's the homeless situation, and that's why he left. And the other thing is, it's the high taxes and, Garcetti and whoever the governor is now, Newsom, and that's why he left. And, I'm pretty much apolitical, bottom line. I'm an apolitical guy. If you're on the left, I love you. If you're on the right, I love you. I don't care. I don't play politics at all. Some people think I do that for my business. It certainly doesn't hurt business, but I've just always been apolitical. So I don't care what Garcetti's doing or Newsom's doing. And this is still America, and we have federal gun laws, and you can have, the kind of guns I shoot, double-barrel shotguns. No one's going after those anywhere in the country or whatever. So none of those were the reason. It was a culmination of things. I'm a businessman, first and foremost. And the taxes in California are astronomical. That's not a political thing. That's just a fact. And when you make X amount of money and you look at the taxes that you're paying just to be in that state, it just becomes mind-boggling. Staggering is another term you can use. The taxes are one thing, but then, and by the way, I'm not a guy who shirks taxes. I believe we should all pay taxes. It's how we keep this country great. But when you look around at the state taxes, I think they're like 13%. That's what it is in my category, it's 13%. And you look around and you go, okay, what am I getting for those taxes? You would think the people paying the most would get the most benefit from those taxes, but you get nothing. I can't really see anything. They even tax our gasoline. I don't know. Steve, you live in Texas, is that right?
Yes, sir.
What do you pay for a gallon of gas?
Okay, right now the closest gas station to my house is $1.73 a gallon.
In California, it's upwards of $4, $3.85, $4, and most of that is taxes. So you pay taxes at the pump. You pay taxes at the grocery store. Buy something, you pay taxes. Sell something, you pay taxes. Make a living, you pay taxes. The property tax is the highest in the nation. So when you add all of that up, and then you say, okay, well, we're still living in a place where it's summertime year-round. But then the homeless situation started moving into our neighborhood. It was always like downtown. It was away from you. You would hear about it. And I'm not heartless. I really feel for these homeless people. I really do. I don't have an answer. My answer is, hey, I paid a lot of taxes. Can someone go fix this problem? But instead of fixing the problem, they've now moved into my neighborhood. And the first thing you look at is all your neighbors start going, we got to get the F out of here. All the neighbors just started talking, because I lived in a sleepy community in Woodland Hills. None of us are rich. It's just everyone are hardworking homeowners. And we all looked around and went, we got to get out of here. And I looked at Serena and said, we got to be first, because once these houses start going, the domino effect will be astronomical. So we got out. And that's a very long-winded answer, Steve. I'm sorry, but that's why we left. It was strictly financial.
So what was Serena's reaction when you said, we got to leave? Was she like, well, I don't know, I got a business here? Or was she like, cool, I'll start packing?
Well, the funny thing is, Serena's an actress, and most of the acting, the auditions and everything are in L.A., and I wasn't like Jed Clampett, and I ran in and grabbed Granny and said, let's get on out of here. We had been talking about it for like a year. And she was the one that was leading the conversation, because her daughter, my stepdaughter, went to UVA. And we started traveling here a bunch. And when it came time to buy a rental property, you had to sink money into something. And it's better to buy a property than, I don't know, stock market or whatever.
Sure.
We bought a property here and turned it into an Airbnb in Virginia. And whenever it wasn't rented out, Serena was here. She made up every excuse in the world. It's like, well, those sconces have to be put in the house, and I want to make sure they do it right. And 3 weeks later, she would come back home. To the point, Steve, where I would travel here just to see her. And it was kind of like one day we decided, well, do we go get the rest of our clothes? How does this work? So that's how that happened.
I guess you were driving from L.A. to, Virginia, and you were calling in to the Adam Carolla show, and he said, hey, where are you at right now? And you said, I'm driving through San Antonio, Texas. And I almost broke my phone. I'm like, this son of a gun. He's driving through my town and no heads up. But I can understand you had some bigger fish to fry during those days. Moving is stressful, especially across the country.
That wasn't actually the move. That was the week before the move. I was still doing all of my gigs. For your audience, I do talks. I get hired to go do keynote speeches and this kind of thing. And I had one in Houston, and it was a week before we did the cross-country drive here. And I have this car that I love. It's a Corvette. I don't have a garage here, so I had to store it in Louisiana. And my last speech was in Houston. And I called in to do the Adam Carolla show, and I was doing about 100 miles an hour. It was right before you get to, when you're going through that area of San Antonio where you could just haul ass out in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, I took a picture while I was driving and sent it to him. I was texting and driving and talking to Adam Carolla at 100 miles an hour, which shows you technology has really come a long way.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, I went down there. I handed the car off in Houston to my older brother. I flew back to LA, got in my truck that was already packed and started driving, basically taking Route 66 across the country.
Oh, sweet. Did you get your kicks?
I did, but it's hard to get kicks on Route 66 now because it's only pieces and parts.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So are you guys just going to stay there? Because it was a bed and breakfast and now that's your residence. Are y'all going to look for another home and then keep that as a rental, or are you going to just stay there?
We've been losing money on this property ever since we moved.
Sweet.
So it's a big money loss right now. As you can tell, I'm in a makeshift room with all of my fitness equipment around me. We have been in escrow twice and fallen out of escrow twice because, well, the first people we were dealing with was crazy. The second person was this really old woman, and COVID broke right when we went into escrow, and she was nervous about getting out of her house and where she was going to go and the whole thing. So we've dropped 2 escrows. We are in a third escrow right now, and knock on wood, they have until midnight tonight to accept our offer. So I may have a house as of midnight tonight.
Gotcha.
I'm really knocking on wood here because I can't go through this process again.
So your new place, is it going to have a garage so you can bring your baby home?
Yeah, it's got a garage. I can finally go pick up my Corvette so I can look at it. I don't really drive it. I just look at it. So I'll be able to shine it up. You know, it's kind of like I'm basically Gran Torino at this point. I'll pull it out. I'll wash it, leave it out in the sun for a while, put it back in the garage until it gets dusty again, and pull it out and wash it. That's about the extent of that. But yeah, I'm going to be able to do that. I'm going to have garage space to do all my stuff. And yeah, it's going to, hopefully, please, I'm crossing my fingers. They're literally crossed here. I'll have a true office again where I can work and set up my studio and all that good stuff. So I'm really hoping it'll work out.
Well, me too. So your podcast, Fitness Confidential, how many days a week do you release an episode?
We put out 5 a week every week.
Now, were you able to do that even during the transition and the move and all that nonsense?
Yeah, we stacked up a bunch of them. I stack up shows anyway, like the Friday shows with the luminaries. You got to catch those guys when you can catch them.
Right.
You know how it is. You basically talk to luminaries on every single show except for maybe this one. So, yeah, you got to stack those people up. I did that. I'm getting ready to drive to Louisiana on Sunday to go take care of my mom. She had an accident, so I need to get home and take care of her. So I'll be driving. I've been stacking up. I'm doing 5 shows today.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I'm good at stacking up shows when I have to.
Good. Yeah, my show only comes out once a week, but because of that especially, I'm pretty stacked. I could probably die tomorrow and episodes would come out for the rest of the year. So I'm a little stacked also.
Yeah, don't die, Steve.
All right. Well, if you insist.
If I die tomorrow, the show can go on for probably 3 weeks.
Wow.
You know, except for the Monday show. The Monday show we do fresh every week.
Gotcha.
That's with Anna Vocino. We do that with every Thursday night, 7 o'clock my time. Do you listen to the show at all? Do you ever catch the show? Or?
I do. I don't catch it every day, but I'd probably listen twice a week, maybe.
Yeah, the Monday show is the one that it's the biggest show we have. And we barely talk about fitness on that show. That's the crazy thing. It's me and Anna, you know, waxing poetic. It's almost like if you think of a morning drive time show of the 80s or 90s. We do it that way.
You mean Anna Vocino, the best voice in podcasting?
Best voice in podcast radio, working now or anytime in the history of podcasting.
There you go. All right, rock on. So did y'all only pick Virginia because you already had a house there? Or was there a different reason you picked Virginia? Because it wasn't California?
Yeah, you know, it wasn't California. There were other states in the working. I like the great outdoors. I still do a lot of climbing, and Washington offers glaciers and a lot of outdoor activities. I like kayaking and all that stuff, you know, big time kayaking. So there's a lot of water, you know, in Washington State. So that was a possibility. Wyoming, those kind of places, Colorado, those were all on the table, but they all had the same problem. Serena's mom is now 81 or 82 years old, and she's had some health problems. And when you live anywhere that's not on the East Coast, then you're dealing with having to get home on a 8, 10, 12-hour flight. When you're here, it's 6 hours. It's like going across this country. It's 5 hours.
And so when you say get home and you're talking about Serena's mom, you're talking about England, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry. That's right.
That's okay.
It was British. So when she's got to get home, she wants to be close to home. So it had to be East Coast. We love it here. We thought about North and South Carolina a bit, that kind of thing. But we knew the area. We liked the area. Serena had made a few friends here. It was kind of a natural pick.
That makes sense. And for those listening, when he says Serena, he's talking about Serena Scott Thomas, previous guest of this show, Vinnie's significant other for a long time, and, of course, a Bond girl.
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Erica.
And I'm Cassandra.
And we're the hosts of Trashy Trashy.
We're a podcast filled with trashy news stories and garbage people.
Did you leave the scene of an accident to go tanning?
Do you refer to wearing the strap down on your Crocs as sports mode?
Have you ordered Domino's online before they even open in the morning?
Are you switching the same AAA batteries from your TV remote to your vibrator instead of just buying more batteries?
Or are you normal?
Check us out wherever you download podcasts.
Let's get back into it.
So you have your podcast, you have your book, well, 2 books, Monty and the Fitness Confidential book, which do great. I guess Monty's out of print, maybe. So you have your podcast, you have the books. You started a coffee company a couple of years ago called Pure Coffee Company, right?
PureCoffeeClub.com.
Pure Coffee Club, thank you. And you also have a Pure Vitamin Club company.
Yeah.
Which one came first? Was the vitamins?
Yeah, thank you for mentioning Monty. That was my first book, and it was
I have a copy. I love it.
Yeah, when people find that book, they go, "Oh my God, who knew that you can write something that sensitive?" And I'm like, I don't know.
It's really, really good.
Yeah, it sold really well at the time. They did a couple of printings on it. It did really well, and then it just, I guess, it wasn't, Harry Potter, so it went by the wayside. But it did well. And it was kind of the book that Dean Laurie saw and went, "Oh, wait, you're a writer." And I went, "No, I'm a fitness trainer." He goes, "No, you're pretty good at this." And he got me writing Fitness Confidential. The reason I'm even bringing the books up is because the second book made a lot of money. You could sit here and go, "Oh, it was successful." It made a shit ton of money for me. More money than I ever thought I could make in one lump in my life. And when that happens, you could do one of 2 things. Put the money in a savings account that doesn't gather any more money. You could put it in very safe stocks, like a SPY or Spider Index, where it's safe, which is what I did with most of it. Or you can foolishly start a vitamin company. So I saved some of it, and the rest of it, I just said, I'm going to start a vitamin company, and did. And stuck to my guns, and the vitamin company took off. PureVitaminClub.com took off in a big way.
Why did you feel it was necessary to start a vitamin company? There's 1,000 vitamin companies. Why?
You're wrong. There's millions of vitamin companies. And when you look at that, Steve, the problem becomes everybody puts fillers and excipients and flow agents. And I had a simple question. Why does any of this have to be in a vitamin? Yeah, and some of it actually causes cancer, like titanium dioxide causes colon cancer, and magnesium stearate stops the absorption of the very supplement you just took. So none of it made sense to me. So I just set out to make the world's purest form of nutrients, and that's what I did. And then the second thing I did was I said, okay, now I came up with the best vitamin in the world. Is it possible to sell it for a price that any mere mortal can afford? So that's what we did. We came up with a vitamin that everyone can afford.
I take the magnesium and the B12. As a matter of fact, I'm out. I need to hit Andy up. And I think that the way it happened was I think I accidentally subscribed twice. But then when I had him fix it, because I didn't realize it. And so I had this stockpile. And so I told him to hold off so I could run through my stockpile. But then I think I forgot to. Anyway, I need to hit Andy up. So then why coffee? You also started another company called Pure Coffee Club. Why?
Yeah, well, like everything else I've done in my life, I had success with the vitamins. As you mentioned, we have several products there now. I like coffee. I've always been a coffee guy. The first time we met was at a coffee restaurant, at a Starbucks.
True.
But all of this third wave coffee was coming around. This is all beyond Starbucks, right? And there was a lot of great companies out there. Blue Bottle comes to mind. Intelligentsia was making good stuff, and Black Rifle, and all these companies were making really good coffee.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt you again. Yeah, I live in a super small town, 30 miles outside of San Antonio. And in my super small town, they just put in a Black Rifle coffee company here.
Really? So they're going to that level now.
Yeah, it's an actual, like, you go in and order a coffee and sit down and drink your coffee. Like, it's a coffee shop. And what they did was, since it's Black Rifle, they partnered with, a local gun company. So it's actually, the store is in two parts. Like, you can walk in and get a coffee and then walk through and you're in a gun shop.
Wow. Usually it's coffee and bicycle shop, but a coffee and gun shop, that's got to be special.
It's very interesting.
Next time I'm in that area, I'm going to have to go check it out.
Definitely.
I hope that the coffee they make at the facility is as good as the stuff they bag up, because they do a good job. And, whenever you start roasting your own coffee, you put your own interpretation on it.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to do. And it's worked. I came up with the house blend, which is a nice light blend that has a lot of flavor. We have that honey process, which is a single origin coffee that I get out of Costa Rica. I call that Beyonce because it broke away from Destiny's Child. It's kind of its own thing. We have the athletic blend, which, all the hoity-toity coffee people told me it would fail because of what I did, but I wanted to add beans that have way more caffeine in them. And they were like, well, those are not the best tasting beans. And I said, people will love this coffee. And they said, no, they won't. And the reason people love it is because it tastes like what you expect a good cup of coffee to taste like. So there's no big flavor profile on it. It just tastes like a good cup of coffee.
Is that your most popular one?
That and honey process are the two most popular. And, now we have that Explorer series and people are into that, where every month we bring something else in from around the world. And, we buy up these lots of green beans. I go in and come up with a roast and boom, we put it out.
How much of a pain in the ass is it for a guy as busy as you are, juggling as many things as you are, to fly around the world and pick out beans and then roast them and do your hands-on? Because I know you're very hands-on.
Yeah.
So how much of a pain in the ass is that? And did you know it was going to be that much of a pain in the ass?
Well, to answer the first question, they send me the beans. So I talk to brokers and they know what I like, and they'll send me small batches of different beans. And I'll sit there and play with them. And when I find one I like, I'll ask for more of 2 or 3 of the different beans. And they'll send that along. And I'll roast them 2 or 3 different ways and in combination and see what I like. So the pain in the butt is not the flying around. The pain in the butt is coming up with that roast. And then jotting down all the notes so that when I send it to the people who subcontract and roast the big lots of it, and then they have to roast some and send it back to me.
Right.
And I have to sign off on that. So the pain in the ass is in that process, not in the travel. Now, we do travel. Pre-COVID, we travel a lot. We have to go to some countries and make deals. It's kind of like drug deals in some of these countries. There's third world nations that grow coffee. So you have to go and make deals.
So does that mean that you have like a mini roaster at your house?
I do.
Oh, how cool is that? Okay, so we got Pure Vitamin Club, Pure Coffee Club, but then you decided you weren't busy enough. So you started NSNG Foods.
That's correct.
Tell everybody what that is.
You know what it is, right?
Yes, I do.
A friend of mine, Ross Taylor, and a few other companies were doing stuff with nut butter, where they were making high-fat nut butters in a package, in a Mylar package. Ross had come up with a really good one, and that company is still called F-Bombs.
They were a sponsor of your podcast for a long time, right?
Oh, for a couple of years.
Okay.
So Ross sold the company, but the company still kept Ross on for a while. he and his wife. And then, like most big companies, the people who created it, apparently the successful brand that they came up with, the big timers in that company decided, kick mom and pop to the curb.
That always makes sense. I mean, they built a business so successful that you wanted to buy it, so then it makes 100% sense to go ahead and get rid of them.
Yeah, it's like, why pay them a salary? We're going to do what we're going to do. And some of the things they started doing is, I started noticing at first, their product used to be 1.25 ounces per packet.
Okay.
It went down to 1 ounce.
Same price?
Yeah, same price. So less product, same price. I would then squirt it out into my gram scale, because when you have a coffee company, you have gram scales.
Sure.
And it wasn't even an ounce.
Oh.
And that was kind of ticking me off. And then they started messing with it a bit. It just didn't taste the same anymore. And then they started coming out with products that had erythritol and allulose and some kind of powdered bone broth.
What the?
Yeah, so I couldn't let them advertise anymore. I finally, most people would do anything to keep an advertiser.
Right.
But I looked around and went, okay, I'm sorry, but I got to let you guys go. Goodbye a lot of money every month.
Right. Did you tell them why?
I told them that it just didn't line up anymore.
Okay.
By the way, I was told that they wanted to get rid of me for a long time, which was odd. Someone that was on the inside that knew me from the good old days when Ross and Carr owned the company, they said, they hate you over there. And I said, well, why don't they quit advertising? It's like, because you're the number 2 way that people find out about their product, behind Joe Rogan. So it's Joe Rogan, number 1, me, number 2.
I'm unfamiliar with that name.
Yeah, most people are. So when you're the number 2 way that people are finding out about your product, you can hate me as much as you want.
Right.
And the reason they hated me was they said, yeah, he sells a lot of product, but he's kind of gruff and he doesn't have the je ne sais quoi that we're looking for here.
And Rogan does?
Well, Rogan is so big that, sometimes
Right.
when you're so big, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Right.
That's true.
So, I knew that they weren't happy with me anyway. Everyone calls me Gran Torino on the internet. I'm an old curmudgeon-y guy. Okay, I get it. That's fine. But hey, I'm selling your product and I'm selling it to the demographic that you want.
Right. Because it's not for just making peanut butter sandwiches. This is for when you're doing outdoor activities and you need to refuel.
Yeah, exactly. And we parted ways, but I had already dropped a lot of money into this company, knowing that they were going to get rid of me at some point. I ended up getting rid of them. And I just sat in my kitchen the way I always do when I learned to roast coffee. When I learned to make my own vitamin pill, I used to order the raw product and sit there and fill it up myself in the kitchen. I'm a guy, most people go to the kitchen and grab a snack. I go to the kitchen and see if I can create a new company. So I went in the kitchen and just got mixing bowls out, and there was nut butter all over the walls. Sometimes I would eat so much MCT oil in a day, I would just crap my pants almost.
Nice.
Because I was always trying the product, and you can only eat so much MCT oil in a day.
Sure.
I got very judicious about, I don't know if I'm going to try this today but yeah, just sat there for months and came up with a formula that the whole world seems to love, because this product, we can't keep pace with what's going on.
Nice. So
yeah.
What is in it?
It's raw almond butter, and there's nothing else in it, like there's no seed oils or whatever. The MCT oil is from pure coconut oil. I put some fresh vanilla in it.
Why?
Because when you add fresh vanilla to anything that's got a bit of a carb in it, like an almond, it's going to make you think you're getting a fresh, sweet taste.
Oh, okay.
So it's just something I figured out. I don't know much about food science, but I had a bunch of buddies who were chefs back in the day, back in New Orleans. So I know how to make things taste a certain way. So I added a little vanilla. Then I said, I'm going to go savory. So I started adding salt, and then eventually I started adding my very own ultra salt from my Pure Vitamin Club line. So this thing is infused with electrolytes, and it has taken off. We've never seen anything come out of the box like this. And then my buddy Adam Carolla started talking about it on his show. I was supposed to talk about something else. Apparently he had a couple of these before the show and couldn't shut up about how good they were. then we sold another gazillion packets of it, and we couldn't even keep up with the gazillion of packets we sold before, so we have a very good problem. We have people working 24 hours a day to get it out.
I listened to that episode. Sometimes I get a little bit behind on Adam, but if it's a guest that I know and love, I'll move that one up. I won't listen in order or whatever. I'll just skip to my favorite. And so I skipped ahead to listen to you coming on. And I want to talk about something that y'all touched on, you and Adam, during that episode. I want to talk about the packaging. You did something with the packaging that is a little unique, and it was based on some maybe improper designing of other people's packaging.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? What the problem was and why you decided to alleviate that problem?
Yeah, with the other company that used to advertise with me, and there's other brands out there, literally it's Mylar that's sealed together, and it makes it almost like a knife blade. And if you put it in your mouth and shove it in too far, you can literally give yourself an episiotomy on both sides of your lip. You can tear each side of your lip.
Yeah, you end up with the Joker smile.
And by the way, it doesn't open you up like that, but I can't tell you the number of times I came back from hiking long distances and had like just a little blister. If you have something like a tomato or something, or you put any salt in your mouth, you go, ooh, what happened there? It'll give you just a little cut, a little paper cut. So when I was making these, I had the packets made in America. It was during COVID, and the only part that wasn't being made in this country was the packet. And I had a deal in China, and I said, screw that. And I went with America. And I told the guy, I said, hey, can you soften the edges a bit? So when you put it in your mouth, you don't have to shove it all the way in. You can just shove it in up to the softened edges and squirt it in. You won't cut your lips. So that's what we decided to do, and it works like a charm. Just a little design thing, I guess.
How much product is in that packet?
1.25. So I went back to what the competitor used to have in their package. So you get more product in this package for a lesser price than a competitor.
For those listening, how would that compare to, let's just say, the size of a ketchup packet?
I've never measured a ketchup packet, but I'd say that there's at least 2.5 ketchup packages in here at least.
Oh, okay.
Maybe thereabouts.
And what is the serving, like how many of those can you have in a day? Or, I'm sure it depends on what you're doing, but what is the recommended use for that product?
Well, if you're using it for a snack, let's say you have a kid that might have diabetes and you're sending them to school. One of these as a snack a day for a kid is fine, along with regular meals and everything else. Just to give you an example, when I did Mont Blanc, I was using a competitor's product. I probably used, on the first day, I walked halfway and stayed at a refuge on a mountain. I probably had 2 going up to the refuge. On climbing day, I had 1, maybe 2. And I think I had the second one on the way down, because on the way down from a long glacier walk, you just get bored.
Sure. That makes sense.
I was with a sugar burner who had to stop every 20 minutes anyway to put more sugar in his mouth. I burned fat, and I just got bored, and I had one sitting in my front pocket, and I just pulled it out. So I think I had 2 on that day. But, sometimes when I was out hiking in the California sun, 6-7 hours on a Saturday, I'd probably have 2 or 3, something like that, over the course of a day.
So the reason I ask is because that's not a product that is going to upset your stomach if you have 2 or 3 of them.
If it's getting to your stomach long before, but no, it's really safe. But yeah, I've tested them really hard, and I've had as many as 6 in a day, no problem.
Sweet.
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors.
Hi, guys. I'm Vinnie Tortorich. I'm the guy that has the Fitness Confidential podcast and the book by the same name. I've started a few companies, but I just started a company called NSNG Foods, and our first product is Ultra Fat. What's that? You say fat? Oh, yeah. It's got fat in it. It's got ultra fat. And the reason we call it ultra fat is because it also has electrolytes. So this is something you want to take when you're on the move. Taking the nation and the world by storm. We have the coffee almond with coconut and vanilla. We also have the one with coconut, vanilla, and almonds with no coffee. So you can go check it all out, nsngfoods.com. Now go listen to my good friend Steve Owens because he knows what he's talking about.
Let's get back into it.
can you tell, this is going to be a long list and a lot of talking for you, but where can people go to find out more about the Pure Vitamin Club?
Pure Vitamin Club is at purevitaminclub.com. And you can go there and check out the website, see what we have available, and you'll get to read the whole story about what goes on there.
Same question as it pertains to Pure Coffee Club.
purecoffeeclub.com. You'll see what we have available. We have a new Explorer series out right now, but you can still get the Kenyan pea berry, which is a very special bean in the coffee world. We were selling that so fast that I went and bought everything else that the supplier had, the green beans. So we're keeping that one for a bit until they run out. Go to purecoffeeclub.com, check it out.
Oh, nice. Very cool. And where can people go to find out more about NSNG Foods and this nut butter? What is it called?
It's called Ultra Fat. Ultra Fat you can find at nsngfoods.com. If you accidentally put in NSNG Food, it'll redirect you right to the site. nsngfoods.com. That's N as in Nancy, S as in Sam, N as in Nancy again, G as in girl, foods.com. You can find all that there.
Now, I noticed you didn't name the company ultrafat.com. So are we to expect maybe some more products coming under the banner of NSNG Foods?
That's exactly why we didn't name it ultrafat.com. Yeah, there's going to be more NSNG Foods products. We're working on some stuff right now. I'm working on a third flavor. I won't do a third flavor until we at least catch up. You know, we're still way behind. But I've been working on a third flavor for months.
So you have two flavors now?
Yeah, we have coffee almond with coconut and vanilla, and the other one is coconut vanilla almond.
Gotcha.
The coffee actually is the coffee from purecoffeeclub.com, by the way.
Well, that makes sense. Nice.
Yeah. Everything in the product is natural. We don't put fake coffee flavors. We just go to my other companies and have it shipped from their warehouse to the other warehouse, and I use my own product, you know.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. Why didn't you call it pure nut butter?
You know, we played around with a lot of names. You know, I've been a high-fat guy, you know, on the internet forever. And when you say pure nut butter, that might sound a little weird.
It sounds disgusting. Sort of like when you said you were in the kitchen and there was nut butter all over the walls.
When you're saying this stuff every day, you forget what it sounds like to other people.
Yes. How is the ultra fat nut butter sold? Is it sold in, I mean, I can't imagine you're selling single packets, but is it like a dozen or how does that work?
You get 10 at a time. So they're sold in packs of 10. No, you can't buy one packet. It's just not feasible to buy one packet. You know,
yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Like everything else, we cut everything to the quick. You know, I don't like to overcharge for anything. So it's a very small profit margin. And like everything else, we count on volume. You know, My fan base is big enough that we can count on volume, or we hopefully count on it. So yeah, we sell them 10 at a time.
So how much is a 10-pack?
You know, I don't know. I want to say it's a little cheaper than the competition, but if you look it up, it's like 23, but if you do a subscription, it goes down to like 19. So it's less than $2 a pouch is what it comes to. It's either $21.95 or $22.95, but with the subscription, it goes down. And we always have some kind of promo going on VinnieTortorich.com where there might be an additional 15% off.
Oh, wow.
So you could get it for sometimes as low as $17 a pack, $1.70, I think. But
oh, nice.
You know, if you do a subscription, it's under $2. And if people think that's expensive, everyone else in the category is $2.50 a pouch, $2.60 a pouch, depending who you're talking to. And theirs is not pure natural. You know, ours is all natural.
And in some cases, you're getting shorted on the actual weight of product. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're getting less product. And that's the other thing. You get 25% more. If I'm doing that math correctly, if you add 25% to 1 ounce,
yeah,
it's 25% more. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, that is awesome. Well, as we're heading out here, Vinnie, can you tell everybody where they can find you and Fitness Confidential?
Yeah, it's the Fitness Confidential podcast. You could just Google Fitness Confidential. I should come up. If you Google Vinnie Tortorich, Vinnie Tortorich.
No wimpy Y?
No wimpy Y on Vinnie or Tortorich. That'll come up. Or you could go to Fitness Confidential Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, anywhere podcasts are consumed. We're on most of the big deals. And by the way, if you're a movie watcher, we did a movie called Fat, a documentary, and we just cut a deal. I'm dropping this here first. Well, it's coming out on next Monday's podcast. I just signed a deal with Gravitas Ventures on January 1st, 2021. We'll be dropping Fat, a documentary 2, the sequel.
Oh, kick ass. Everybody is going to be excited about that, I'm sure. The first one was, forgive me for saying so, fucking amazing.
Oh, thanks.
So great that I had Peter Pardini, the director, come on and talk about it. That was fantastic. I can't wait to see the second one. Why'd you make a second one?
When I was shooting the first one, I overshot everything. So this is not second material. And I think a bunch of people we were interviewing was like, well, the conversation was going in that direction. Now they're asking me these questions. We were literally thinking of the second movie while we were doing the first movie.
Gotcha.
So when COVID hit, it was the perfect time to go, well, sitting on my ass a little more than I like to. Peter's working on a different project right now, but whenever I need to get him on the phone to ask questions, he was there for me. Obviously, I know how to tell a story. I was able to put it together. And it's completely different from the first movie as far as the content. We're not just doing the first movie again and kind of half-baking it. This is a whole different movie, a whole different everything. It's 80 minutes long. According to Gravitas, we have the top-selling documentary they ever sold. I was talking to Gallagher, one of the Gallagher brothers who owns Gravitas, and he said, you've outdone yourself on the best movie they've ever sold. He said, we've outdone ourselves. So let's hope that the rest of the world feels the same way.
That's fantastic. And hit that date again. When's it supposed to come out?
Supposed to drop on the 1st of January, 2021.
And I know it's a little premature, but do you know where people are going to be able to get it?
Gravitas, they're the distributor. It's going to be on iTunes for sure. It's going to be on Amazon Prime for sure. It'll be on 65 or 70 VODs around the world, video on demands. I'm sure it'll be on airliners, just like the first movie. A lot of the major airliners around the world. People were showing me pictures from, hey, I'm on Malaysian Airlines. Look, it's here. The one place I have jurisdiction over this, I won't allow them to sell it to people like Netflix or Hulu. Down the road, I will. But right up front, I'm not allowing it because if you take an exclusive deal with those people, they'll give you a boatload of money. But as you may know, Steve, I don't care about money.
Right.
I care about people seeing the movie. If a vegan is in that back room at Netflix, they can go, you know what? I'm burying this movie. We just paid this guy a gob of money. Let's bury the movie. And I can't take that chance.
Well, that makes sense. Well, before I let you go, Vinny, is there anything we didn't talk about or I didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about today?
As always, Steve, I think we covered it. You always seem to just peg it right on the head.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Well, thank you so much, Vinnie Tortorich, for taking the time out of your busy day yet again to be the first ever 4-time guest on Fascination Street podcast. I super appreciate your time, and I can't wait to talk to you again, man.
Same here, brother.
All right, bye, buddy.
Later.
As always, thanks for listening, Streetwalkers. And don't forget, follow the show on Twitter at FascinationSTPD, on Instagram at Fascination Street Pod. Follow the podcast page on Facebook at Fascination Street Podcast. And of course, you can always email me at fascinationstreetpod@gmail.com. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and rate us on iTunes. Opening music is the song Magnolia from the 2014 album Intransigence, used with permission from Douglas Miles Clark. Closing music is Apollo from the 2001 album Into the Known by the band Sapphire. Thanks for hanging out with us and getting to know a little bit about our guest. We'll see you next time on Fascination Street.